Well, there you are. Again, Charlie Greer podcast. I do this every day. Today, so Delphi murders. What's your take on it, on the case? Before we do, please like, share, subscribe. If you want to support the channel, which you do, the information is in the description for Cash App and Zelle. Let's do this. So, Delphi murders. What is your take on the case? Before we do, please pray for the families. Pray for Abby and Libby. Pray for law enforcement. Pray for everybody. Spread the blessings. Um, so the Delphi case, uh, in my humble opinion, man, something's fishy. Um, okay. Next month will be like 7 years. They got this Richard Allen. Today's a court date for him. I think they're going to do discovery or anyway. Uh, and I haven't done a Delphi video in I don't know over a month, probably maybe 2 months. Who knows? Because I just literally think it's something's not right. I don't know what it is. Again, this is my humble opinion. Because if you take it in a linear fashion, none of this makes sense. The old man sketch, the young dude, the hiding in plain sight. He might be in the room. You add all that stuff up, and then they come up with this Richard Allen. They find a bullet that matches a gun that he owns. In my humble opinion, he seems like a fall guy. This seems like a setup. It doesn't make any sense. Now they're talking about, the muddy, bloody dude that there was a witness that said muddy, bloody dude. Richard Allen himself came forward. He's like, yeah, and he described what he was wearing. I think this is before the video actually surfaced. Again, comment below. What is your take on this case? Is it just me? Am I the asshole that just kind of, I'm not trying to stir the pot or anything. It just doesn't make any sense. The ex-mayor, the day that this happened, the murders, well, he said he was in some kind of meeting, but there isn't any, they can't prove he was there. He can't, I'm not saying he had anything to do with it. I'm just saying that there's just some strange stuff going on. Now he's working for the district attorney, and this district attorney, if I'm not mistaken, only like did defense. I don't know if he's ever tried a case like this. And he looks ill. He looks. Well, look at the video of him just recently when back in, like, what was it, when they found Richard Allen, November or somewhere like that. He looked like he had jaundice or something. Now look at him in that short span of time, 3 or 4 months. He looks rough. And I said this a long time ago. Like, there's something there's illness involved. There's this, that, and the other. Again, I think that, I'm not claiming to know what happened. I just know that that we're not being told what's going on. The FBI were there, like, bam, that night. You understand, man? Even if someone's underage, you report it. It takes 24 hours. No, they were there and claimed, we were around the corner to really. Then the next day, that park or trail system had every kind of CSI truck and this, that, and the other. In my humble opinion, I think there's a bigger sting going on. I think that this is just there's levels to this case. And they've admitted that, like, Keegan Klein or KK, whoever, his phone popped off the biggest CP ring or investigation in the history of the state. And then he, of course, and there's CIs, there's confidential informants all through this. He's got to be a CI. I think a lot of them are. And they probably got to him, and then, they're searching the creek or the river or whatever. And then they come up with this Richard Allen, which it took him over 6 years. And I know they said he was hiding in plain sight, but this guy's short. And this guy did look, again, there's just so much. I don't believe any of it, to tell you the truth. I believe they're going to study this case once this is up, they're going to study this case. Because what I have said since day one, they're going to either blame it on someone, get it thrown, or take it to court with someone, and then it gets thrown out. But then they can say they can seal everything forever and go, well, who we thought it was, and ruin someone's life. Or is he involved in this Richard Allen guy? Because there were how many people were out on that trail at the time of the? You wouldn't hear screams or this, that, and the other. You don't think young girls wouldn't be screaming? Come on, something's not right. And then the night of the search, supposedly multiple people have said, look, they wouldn't even let us across where the victims were found later the next day. Well, they said there was people guarding, like, oh no, it's already been searched. And before the people were chomping all over there that night, and no one saw. Because I've never been there, but just from the video I've seen and people talking, it's small. You can almost see from the bridge where they were at. There's a house behind, like on the south side of the bridge, where you can see from the porch where exactly where the victims were found. And that dude is kind of a weirdo, and he's had, cops caught on him, and supposedly it's strange. Now, see, we're living in a world where there's a lot of corruption. The FBI guy that was the head of this case, well, he went down for corruption. It's all embedded. Talk to people that will really talk. You can't do anything without joining these secret groups, especially in law enforcement. Well, you can't go anywhere unless you know the secret handshake and this, that, and the other thing. I'm not going to mention what it is, but that's a thing. You think that law enforcement is like, oh, here to help. No. No. Having a fall guy is a thing. Don't you remember the show in the 80s with Lee Majors, Fall Guy? Come on. Actually, he was a stuntman. Anyway, so setting people up, that's a thing. That's as old as time. My gut tells me something. Again, I'm not, just humble opinion. Because people will go, well, I'll just go on the facts that I know. Well, if the facts are wrong, then what do you know? A lie. This is the thing. Most people don't know when they're being lied to. Well, I do. I can read that shit. I lived in LA for 24 years. I ran the streets. I know. You have to know. And this is the thing. They're not even good at what they're doing, man. They're using like the low-hanging fruit. They're just lazy. And look at all the police. Could they even pass a physical? Can they do a pull-up or anything like that? Again, I'm pro law enforcement. And, but everybody I see, it pops off like my gut, like, oh, okay, wow. Oh no, seriously? Everybody. And I think people know. I think that good people know. Like Robert Ives, the first prosecutor in this case, well, he resigned. I don't blame him. He probably knew right off the bat. He said this thing should have been solved in like 1, 2, 3 days. From the old school physical evidence, we're talking about like fingerprints and footprints and, not any of the new science with, DNA and this, that, and the other thing. So what did he know? See, that was a tell. He was telling us something like, man, there's something else going on. There's gag orders everywhere. Again, in my humble opinion, I think there's a bigger sting. I think that these people were involved in certain things, not necessarily the murder. Like they didn't go out and kill these girls, but they knew people who kind of were connected to, and they were all involved in some kind of, kinky, perverted stuff in their personal life. And then there's other people in this case that are just like on the down low, bisexual, whatever, and they just don't want that to, that affect that. I'm the. I mean, come on, you're gaydar and go off when you hear these people. Is it just me? And there's nothing wrong. I got LGBT family and friends. It's just that this is, and I can't believe other people aren't picking up on this, And I'm not going to say who it is, There's this certain, if you lived a little life, granted, I'm in my 50s. I lived in Los Angeles. I had to be around kind of, my grandfather too, who I inherited part of his corporation and was in my 20s. He was O&I. He was Office of Naval Intelligence. I grew up around the intelligence. I know certain things and I get it, but there's something not right here. And they're not even doing it that well. But see, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. So they got to set these fools up. And if it's a bigger sting operation, it's because, they said Keegan Klein was taken to a military base. There's something else going on. They're like, well, no, that's a standard practice to take kid back. Huh? What? Again, am I the fool? It's just, again, I think that, but I know there's stuff they probably had that I don't know. Again, I'm not a soothsayer. I'm not a psychic. I did have someone email me. This was like about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I don't know their name. They were really cryptic. And again, it's a psych. You know what I mean? You got to take it with a grain of salt. But supposedly they work with law enforcement. And they said I was right on of all the videos that she, whoever it was, said I was right on the money about. And I'm not even a true crime podcaster. Okay. I do everything on my podcast. If you want a deep dive in this case, well, there's better podcasters to do this. And I say this on every Delphi murder episode I do. I ain't the one, you know what I mean? I don't know all the timelines and this, that, and the other. And I don't have all the graphics and spawning a new window. No, I'm just a dude ranting in front of his laptop. That's my format. But this certain person contacted me, long emails they sent me about, they've been in contact with law enforcement and they think that something else is going on. I do too. I think that there's a bigger sting, whatever that may be. Maybe it's connected to this phone that KK had. And see, when you're investigating, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And some of these people on high levels, well, it takes time. And when you're doing crime, as far as like in that world, as far as like, say you're in these upper levels, well, that's what you do. You need a fall person. You need a patsy. Do you think Richard Allen is a patsy? A patsy is someone you set up for a crime. Oswald supposedly was a patsy. His own words. I'm not saying that Oswald, Lee Harvey Oswald, who supposedly killed JFK, John F. Kennedy. The night that they arrested him, he was going through the halls of the Dallas police. He's like, I'm a patsy. He said it himself. And there's something strange about that too. And it's weird how all these things kind of align. Like when you're using patsies and fall guys and this, that, setting people up. Where there's only so many things you can do. So you see these patterns and these rhythms. People, when they're lying, have tells. Women and men. Everybody, when they're lying, they do tells. They do certain things with their twinks and eyes and this, that, and the other. It's all over this case. Now, I know when you're withholding evidence, you'll do certain tells. Because withholding, lying by omission is a lie. And people embellish. We all do. I'm the best there's ever been. Yeah, well, that's, come on. But then there's this, there's really, there's some weird tells. It's a small town. See, I'm a small town kid myself. I grew up around like 2000, 3000, where I'm from in Tennessee, little small town. You would think that this same county, they had 4 girls that died before this in a fire. And it's not getting anything. And they sealed some of that. They sealed the 911 call on that. And the dude, the guy, the police officer or the fireman, whoever showed up first, supposedly he was covered in accelerant and he was in his car and all this other stuff. It's like, there's got to be some bigger sting. Comment below. Do you think? What's your gut? Forget about what everybody's saying. Because this case is like went up and down. I mean, there's been so much crazy stuff. Again, I'm not a deep diver on this. I'm not even a true crime podcast. If I were you, I would check out like Rockin' Ruckus, Frank at Unresolved Crime. What's his name? Sleuth Intuition. There's some guys that are really doing, and people that are really doing good work on this and have been doing it like for years. They know it all, or as much as they can. Again, I'm not a true crime podcast. Go check them out. Give them some love. But what I am is a human being, and I have enough street sense to realize that, man, you can't lie to me like this. You can't, something's not right. I don't claim to know what it is. I think something's connected to something else that's not even, again, it might not be connected to the murder. Maybe it is. But if you're doing a sting, like an intelligence sting, like a military tribunal kind of thing, because certain things you'd have to call in like bigger forces. Because we all know what's corrupt. These, you would think that these agencies, they've been, they just, everything's, we're living in the world is in a pickle right now. We're all in that pickle jar, submerged in the pickle jar. And again, comment below. What do you think? What's your gut telling you? Do you also see some of these tells? Because I've been around more people. Most people, again, most people stay where they're at. They don't like. Man, I've met a million people, whoever. I know a lot of, and again, I used to run the streets of LA. So you have to know. You have to know what people are thinking, how they're coming at you, all these angles that they're, I wish I didn't know. Sincerely, I'm an artist. I live an artist life. And how I got turned on to this case was when they released the Anthony shots. So I'm kind of new to the game, or the case, I should say. And it fascinated me because I'm into true crime and paranormal, this, that, and that. But it like really rang true about like, wait a minute, something's not right here. Of course, they're lying by omission. They have to hold stuff back. It's like, what did they do when they, with the Richard Allen, like probable cause, it's just some kind of shady, and his lawyer who he got, well, one of his last cases, he got the bullet at kind of the same thing. They found a bullet that got it thrown out. They better hope and pray they got something else on this guy. And I also think there's more people involved. I think that there's people, I don't know, at least 2 or 3, maybe more. We don't know the whole story. Whatever, we're being spoon-fed and everything's sealed. And it's a shame because it's gotten to the point where they don't even, it's become like this theatrical thing where they don't even mention the girls. Again, pray for Abby and Libby. At the end of the day, that's why I'm interested in the case, is for justice. This affects us all. Small town, kids have a day off, they're having fun, and end up, well, that means we can happen to anybody, anybody's family, anybody's children. And it does. There's some weird stuff going on in that county. Indiana, I don't even know what's going on. But in small town, see, a lot of corruption isn't a conspiracy. Nepotism, meaning family, power. Like, oh, my daddy's so-and-so, and I played football. Nepotism, favoritism. I played football, you in high school. Cronyism. Yeah, we all know each other. Nepotism, favoritism, cronyism. They don't really think that that's corruption. It is. So that's the first layer. That is definitely going on. Some of these people, man, the mayor, the sheriff, it's like, or the new sheriff now. I mean, have you watched those sheriff debates before he got elected? I mean, come on. This new sheriff, could he pass a physical? Again, I'm not trying to point the finger at people, but it's like, could he do a pull-up? Could he climb that rope and hang for 20? I don't think so. He isn't even that experienced. The ex-mayor, Tobe, at least he used to work in a prison, this, that, and the other. And see, there's something about him. I think that all of them are, something's not right, just to hide things in their personal life that they probably don't want people to know. I think that there has something to do with Ray Hanish. Look who Ray Hanish was. And I'm not going to get down that rabbit hole, but look into Ray Hanish, what he was murdered. Look who that's connected to. Because it might not even be connected to this crime, but it's connected to the realm of criminality that's going on in that area. Again, comment below. What do you think? Are any of you living around there? Because I've had people, because I've done a few of these Delphi podcasts, and people have commented me or emailed me and said, "Hey, man, I live around there. It's just, most of the police work, what they do is they just do petty crime, speeding tickets, and giving tickets to people that haven't mowed their lawn or whatever, and drugs, this, that, and the other. They're not really, and I get it. They weren't ready. They weren't equipped for something like this. But another strange thing about this is how it's got the attention of the world. See, stuff like this, if it was just a regular murder of two teenage girls, it wouldn't be instantly like international news like this. And they and everybody knows it. They got the video, they got the audio. And first he was short and stubby, then he was tall, and then he was and I had a theory, and I did a video about this, about guys, get down the hill, or what did they say? I think that's the same person, but it's recorded in two different situations. Guys, that to me sounds like it's the headroom of that recording, that this one word, because they only added one word when they used to be this down the hill. Guys sounds like it was recorded in like a interrogation room, where whoever it is, the perp, is going, guys, I didn't do this. What are you talking about? You already interviewed me. Then down the hill is when he's in creep mode, and he's in his, it's going down. And they added that one word just to give a signal to, hey, we know. You better start talking. You better this and that. Again, I think that guys sounds like a different recording. Same person. They're down the hill. It's guys sounds like it's a question, but guys like question mark, down the hill, exclamation point. Now maybe I'm just maybe I'm a fool, but I'm a musician. I'm an artist. I've done a lot with sound. I've been playing guitar since I was like 8. I used to sing in bands. I've been in studio. I used to teach vocal lessons. I know about, and then my gut feeling, and how certain words you could say, guys, 1,000 different times. It could mean different things. And they've been all over the place. Like they literally don't know what's going on. I'll always go back to that 2019. I think it was 2019, the presser, where he might be in the room. Dun dun dun. Like what? I also had a theory that they didn't have time to digest. Doug Carter didn't have time to digest what he was reading. Something's eating him up in that press conference. And that's what you would do. See, they were looking for a reaction from everybody. Look at Tobe's face when he's standing behind Doug when they're doing that. He's getting red flashes, and he looks like he's about to pass out. They could have, perhaps, they said, okay, here's the narrative. Here we go. Right before they went out. Oh, no, Doug, here you go. Maybe the FBI or somebody goes, no, Doug, you're going to read this. So he barely had time to digest it. They wanted that reaction from someone. Maybe they're looking, maybe they didn't know, maybe they don't know who's corrupt. So they have to get a reaction from everybody. That's what you would do if you were doing some kind of bigger sting. I think that, why did they go to France too? They've been all over there's been some weird stuff in this case. And if it is what they claim, the biggest sting operation, this off of the Anthony Shots account. Well, I know they're arresting people. Where are all this stuff going on? Where are the other cases? Maybe they can't talk about it. I don't know, but it would seem like something bigger is going on. They'd have to literally call in like Space Force to figure, another agency that's not tied. See, everything is tied together. Once you join these certain secret societies and take an oath, well, hell, everybody's connected. It doesn't matter what agency you're in, what state, whatever, you're you're the brethren. You got to help out fellow, traveler, if you will. That's a thing. That's as old as time too. It just doesn't sit well with me. Now, hopefully today, I haven't watched, I don't know, maybe it's on now, like the the hearing that's going on today. Maybe they'll release some stuff. Maybe there's some, I don't know. You can't tell a lot because you got to hold back stuff to go to court. I get that. Yeah, I think that they have more on this Richard Allen. Why it took them all this time to find him, and they had a bullet, and why didn't they run guns that matched that type of ammo? And already they should have found this guy. Right? Robert Ives is right. The first prosecutor, he's right. Why would he resign? Maybe he knew. He's like, damn, I don't want to, open this can of worms. And like, what do you think? Comment below. Because there has been like every kind of, I've never mentioned, anytime I've done a Delphi video, I've never mentioned like a POI, person of interest. I quit watching most of because at first when I discovered this case, because I'd watched some of it years ago, but I never, because I saw the picture of the dude on the bridge and this, that, but I never kind of went till that night, because YouTube, they'll refer stuff to you on your main page. And I saw that Anthony Shot's like, what in the hell? So I started going down the rabbit hole, and I found certain podcasters, and started digging into the case. I mean, as far as it's my own curiosity, I can't solve a case. Okay, I can't even solve certain little things in my own life. So I'm not one of those dudes. No, none of that. But it's been all over the place. People have literally like named so many POIs, and just like, I mean, everybody. There's so much weird stuff about this. Again, comment below. What do you think? What's your take on this case? Do you too feel that perhaps there's something bigger going on? This is tied to something that, because they knew about KK, Keegan Kline, right after this murder. Then they dangled him around. They knew about his phones and stuff, and he was out for years. The only reason they would do that is he was a confidential informant, a CI, a snitch. The only reason. And then he probably wasn't giving them what they want. That's when they pick him up and, throw him in jail. And he don't look too good. Well, for one, he's not that healthy anyways. Look at him. Then his father, like, there's all this crazy stuff. And Ron Logan, the dude, they found the victims, Abby and Libby, on his property. Something strange about him. I don't know what it is, but there's something, and he's passed. There's something weird about why he would want, because he lied about an alibi. He called his cousin, like, hey man, you got to, at this certain time period, before anybody even knew that the girls were deceased, why would he want to lie about that certain time when other time he wouldn't? I'm not saying he's the murderer. I'm just saying that, like, that is strange. Another strange thing about Ron Logan is, like, before they released the picture of the video of the bridge guy, he looked exactly like, he was dressed basically like Central Casting bridge guy. He was wearing basically that looked like the same stuff. Then once that came out, he changed the way he dressed. I mean, that's weird. Again, I'm not saying that it's just that there's some strange stuff. Is it a coincidence? The people that, people like, investigators and stuff, they know there's no such thing as a coincidence. In certain crimes, there's just no such thing. You would think how many people were searching that night for the girls that they wouldn't have stumbled across. Come on. And then all of a sudden, like, there they are. Like, what? Huh? Again, is it me? Am I the only one that thinks that something's not right? Again, I hope they're on. I hope they're doing the right thing. I hope that I am wrong. I hope so. I hope they got the right guy. We don't know what they found in the river. They were searching it for weeks. Right after that happened, this is when all this stuff popped off. Also, you got to keep in the back of your mind, this was an election year, right before Richard. You know what I mean? They needed something. That's what they do. You got to look through history. Like, this is literally, they're literally doing like the. It's just, It seems there's corruption everywhere in this case. Again, this is my humble opinion. I don't know. I don't have a document or I can put a link in the video, but none of that. You know, I'm not a true crime podcaster. I talk about everything. But this case has affected me. I feel for the families. Pray for the families, man, and pray for law enforcement and everybody. Pray for the girls. Pray for Abby and Libby. This needs to stop. Something has to, come about of this. I just feel like this is about to get kicked out, and then they seal the files forever. That's, I think, the main motivation for certain people is to seal this up. Blame somebody. See, that's the thing. If you want to seal all this, you don't care if it gets thrown out of court or not, because they've already, dang, we've made a mistake. We're shifting gears. Like they think, incompetence is I don't know. There's a lot of incompetence going on in this case. And people, they all have their jobs still and stuff. It's something isn't right. Do you think there's a bigger sting? Do you think some bigger organization or agency is looking into this area because they know that certain things were going on? But again, it's not who you know. And then you have to catch the big fish, you got to get the little tadpoles first as bait or whatever. Because this seems like a reactionary crime. Again, I don't know what happened, but they said it was really brutal. Did they know something? Did they stumble up on something? Did they know and stumble up on, something they didn't? I'm talking about the girls. Does somebody just wake up one day and just go to a bridge and then do this? Perhaps. I don't know. I can't wrap my mind around it. What I do know is I follow my gut, my intuition, if you will, and there's something ain't right. I don't claim to know what it is. I don't know who, what, and where. If this is a parlor trick, a parlor game, do you think Richard Allen's a patsy? There could be a few patsies, people that hung out to dry, to put barriers between the people that actually did this, and that's what criminals do, especially if they're smart and they're used to doing it. Psychopaths are really cunning. And it's scary to think how charming they are. And, you wouldn't even know. All of us are guilty. Nobody's, again, you can read people, and I'm pretty good at reading people, but we all could be fooled. Only a fool would think that they can't be fooled. No, you're being fooled. Again, comment below. What do you think? What is your take on this case? I do this every day, not necessarily about the Delphi case, but I do my podcast every day. If you want to, best way to support the channel is just like, share, and subscribe. If you want to physically support the channel, which you do, the information's in Cash App. Information's in the description for Cash App and Zelle. So I'll be back tomorrow. And, I might do another after I watch some stuff and maybe watch the hearing, if they'll let us even watch it. I don't know if they're going to let the court hearings today. Maybe not. Maybe but I needed to get this off my chest. It's like, I haven't talked about the Delphi in a while. And again, there's these things that kind of don't sit with me. Something's not right. I don't know what it is. Again, this is my humble opinion. Again, comment. Tell me what you think. But I'll be back tomorrow. I love y'all. Be blessed. Cheers.